Yes. Germ Griffin Recordings Archive. Germ Griffin Recordings Archive. World of Controversy Podcast will be back sooner than later. I promise you. Don't worry. It's your brother Germ Griffin. I'm here. Germ Griffin right out of Philadelphia. I'm here. I'm back at you. I got a banger. We're talking Epstein. We're talking Bill Gates. Super excited. I got my water here. I'm checking the time. And I got some articles to read because I've been confused about this. And I've been questioning some things with this conspiracy thing, right? But, yeah, we're going to break it down. Don't worry. We're going to break it down. I'm going live today. I'm going to let some people hop in my chat. I may answer some questions. Germ Griffin Recordings Archive. World of Controversy Podcast will be back. It will be back. Don't worry. World of Controversy Podcast Season 5 will be back. Right now, you're on my beautiful podcast on this beautiful Friday. I believe it's June 2nd. June 2nd, Friday. Super excited. We in this piece. The year of our Lord 2023. Super excited. And you know what happened, right? You know I had to hop on a pod. Well, I always hop on the pod when I'm on break with World of Controversy Podcast. The podcast that brings you all forms of controversy. And I said this. I said, listen, I got to hop back on the podcast. I got to hop back on Germ Griffin Recordings Archive because some new news just dropped. And I know some of the conspiracy people may be watching it, getting or comprehending what's popping off. But I'm here to break down some stuff that maybe even they didn't quite understand, right? So, yeah, super excited. We're gonna get this thing going, and I'm not even sure where to go with this one because there's so much popping off. As in, well, text me about that later on. Thank you. Someone's already in the chat. Thank you. I'm not sure if that's like a scam or text me about that later on, ma'am, sir. Okay. Now, what news just came out? And again, I say news because really, is it news? I'm already questioning stuff. Bill Gates, Jeffrey Epstein, Mila Antonova. Okay. Whoever the heck that is. Boris Nikolic. Is that how you pronounce this man's name? Melinda S. Walker. Okay. All four of y'all, I want to sit y'all in a room. I want to talk about it. I want to get this thing popping. I want to get it in. Because in reality, I'm not sure where we're going to go with this one. If I got all four of y'all in a room, and obviously Epstein is dead, so there's only a few questions I can really question about him. We already know where he headed. Right? Who is Bill Gates? First thing first, you got to understand, Bill Gates is the founder of Microsoft, co-founder of Microsoft, and he was a CEO for a long time. Him and his wife, Melinda Gates, definitely want to have a conversation with her, too. Melinda Gates, Bill Gates, they are the head of Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. As everyone knows, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is the largest supporter of the WHO, the World Health Organization. So now it sounds like there was a foundation before Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. That name, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, in quotations, because remind you, there are his father was in the philanthropy, from what I understand too. His father was also in the eugenics. That's a big key, and they fund World Health Organization. They fund Gavi. They're actually one of the biggest financiers of an organization called Gavi. I've covered this a little bit, I believe, in another podcast. where I talk about how Gavi has essentially been trying to throw these vaccines to poor people for years, decades, way before COVID. And obviously, Bill Gates is one of the richest people on the planet. He owns more farmland than just about anybody in the country. Super important. Um, Now, who's Jeffrey Epstein? Well, I don't know who Jeffrey Epstein is because a lot of people are telling me they don't even know who Jeffrey Epstein is. I want everyone to go to a report back in like 2010. Sex offender Jeffrey Epstein is not a billionaire. Forbes. Okay, now this is Forbes saying that he's not a billionaire back in 2010. 2010, Jeffrey Epstein solicits a underage prostitute, and obviously super rich guy. We still don't really know all the connections he have. Every day, every week, it turns out that he knows someone else famous, someone else new. Jeffrey Epstein is a character in itself. Another thing to pop off this weekend, on another hand, did y'all see how he knows Noam Chomsky? So supposedly Noam Chomsky and Epstein were talking together. Obviously Prince Andrew knew him, Donald Trump knew him, Bill Gates knew him, and we're going to talk a little bit about why Bill Gates knew him in their relationship and the information that just came out and why I'm questioning it. Why some conspiracy theorists aren't looking deeper into this. Why everyone needs to look into this connection between Jeffrey Epstein and Bill Gates. Again, Jeffrey Epstein, he solicits an underage prostitute. He goes to pretty much probation, or he has to register as a sex offender at least. Back in like 2010. Now remember the year 2010. This is super important. He supposedly runs these money management. He ran a money management firm, and he's also an advisor to billionaires. That's what they tell us he is, okay? No one really knows. The only person we really know for sure that it's official that he did business with, his only official client is Lex Waxner, or Mr. Waxner. He's the founder of Victoria's Secret. Now, again, super important. Remember that Victoria's Secret, the guy that ran that, knew Jeffrey Epstein well, worked with Epstein well. Lex Waxner, I believe is his name. Lex Waxner worked with him 2010 pretty much. In 2010, he has to register as a sex offender because he got caught trying to talk to some underage girl. And Waxner leaves. Waxner then starts to work with J.P. Morgan. Now, peep game. J.P. Morgan is involved in this. I think I'm going to hit on the J.P. Morgan conspiracy a little bit in part 2. Super important. Now, I just told you who Jeff Epstein was. Jeffrey Epstein was also the boyfriend of Ghislaine Maxwell, who just went to jail, I believe. Helping put them kids on that gosh dang island. Okay, watch yourself there. Jeffrey Epstein commits suicide in 2019. That's where I really want to pull this whole thing into. Jeffrey Epstein supposedly goes to jail for getting caught up in that whole island fiasco. And again, so much more research on that. They were bringing little girls or whoever on the island. There was enough buildings to make a whole compound on that island. The island is called Little St. John's. Look it up. And yeah, he goes to jail and commits suicide. We don't know why, how he was able to do it. Supposedly the guards were asleep and they go back to his cell. He's dead. He's dead. All right. Just to give the people a little bit of this is how we got here. Because a lot of people know how we got here. Okay? Ghislaine Maxwell helped him get them kids on this island. Period. All right? 2019. This is before the pandemic. He commits suicide during the pandemic. She's put on trial. The FBI lose a bunch of evidence, but just enough evidence to get her convicted. Thrown into prison, and now that's where she is, I believe, now. That's Bill Gates and Jeff Epstein. Now, why am I talking about these two characters now? Because if you've been checking out the news, supposedly before Jeffrey Epstein dies, something comes out. Jeffrey Epstein, Wall Street Journal just released this about 2 weeks ago, less than 2 weeks, that Jeffrey Epstein was supposedly blackmailing the brother Bill Gates, one of the richest men in the world. One rich man blackmailing another rich man. Now, how do one rich person do another rich person? Well, we gotta talk about it. Supposedly, there was an email sent. I believe this is back in 2017. You gotta keep your years right with these conspiracies too. Back in 2017, a situation happened where Epstein wants some money for a young woman's schooling bills. Now, who is this young woman? That's where we're about to get into. Oh, you've come on to the greatest podcast on planet Earth. Germ Griffin Recordings Archive. Super important. You can follow me on Twitter at GermTwix. Instagram, germ.griffin. Antonova. Mila Antonova is a young Russian girl, right? Super young Russian chick who also plays bridge, okay? So back in 2010, there's so much mystery behind a lot of this stuff, by the way. I've read multiple articles about this. We don't even know where she come from, really. We don't even really know how old she was when she met Gates, but she's a really big bridge enthusiast. So bridge is some card game similar to spades or poker, right? She comes from Russia over here. She wants to start a bridge tournament. Dang, why my lights came off? I'm waiting for the clock to really get me. I'm about to break some stuff down. Young woman comes over here, and there's a tournament in D.C. You know what I mean? There's a tournament in D.C., a bridge tournament. So they're playing cards. Who's at this bridge tournament? She's an enthusiast. She's a bridge enthusiast from Russia. Came over here trying to set up a business. Who she meets? She meets one of the richest men on planet Earth who happens to also love the game of bridge. Now, how coincidental is that? A game I ain't never heard before a month ago. These cats over here playing cards together and meet up. Remind you, Bill Gates is married to Melinda French Gates. All right. And the Bill Melinda Gates Foundation is still in big swing. I believe this is back when he was still buying, him and the foundation was still buying stock in a little known company called Pfizer, if I'm correct. No, maybe it was some years after, probably 8 years after. You gotta get your years right when you do this conspiracy stuff. Young woman named Antonova comes over here. They say she was in her 20s. He was in his 50s or 60s, right? We don't even know where this woman, like, we know so little about this woman after doing research about her. Right? She comes over here. They first meet in 2009. 20-some-year-old. Maybe she was around 20, right? They meet in 2009. They're playing cards. She trying to start a business that teaches people how to play this game. This game actually helped her learn English, supposedly. So she in America. She supposedly has an affair with one of the richest men in the world. Now, again, none of my business. I'm not here to judge. Antonova literally looks like she could be Greta Thunberg's big sister literally doesn't look much better than Greta. And Greta's a little girl. It's sad. This chick is in her 20s. She built like an 11-year-old. I don't know why he's doing whatever with this woman, okay? And she's from Russia, which makes it even funnier. Will you be covering Bill Gates and what's going on with farmland soon? Someone asked me what's going on with the farmland. Let me tell you what's going on with the farmland. That's a closed book. I don't even have to go over that. Even though one day I might actually go over the Bill Gates and the farmland thing. Listen, Bill Gates is set up to really control the future. That's where his money and investments are in, okay? And we got to really look at that when we talk about him. This is a man that's powerful now, but he's actually going to be one of the most powerful men in the world years from now if we don't stop him now. All right, let me just say that again, because he's on a route where he's about to control the food supply, okay? And Bill Gates has his hand in a lot. He got patents on a lot. He got I believe he even got a whole encyclopedia, if you would not, some type of catalog of all these natural plants. And I heard something crazy, like he would try and patent like even the native plants, you know what I mean? He got patents on vaccines that aren't even needed right now. I believe he got patents on viruses. And yes, he is the largest farm owner, farmland actionix, because I'm an urban farmer. A lot of things can get turned into farmland. But as of right now, farmland, quote unquote, he is the largest farmland owner in the country. He got more farmland than anybody in the country of the farmland in this country. Super important to say, super important to know, especially when we talk about Monsanto. Now, back to what I said. Listen, he has sex with this Russian woman. He has sex with this Russian woman, supposedly. Now, this is where things get interesting. This is one of the richest men on the planet. He just had sex with this Russian woman. Nothing to know, nothing to see, right? No, it gets further, because his man's Boris Nikolic. Boris Nikolic, I believe, is the science advisor for Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Now, I'm going to really tell y'all how this all comes together, because Boris Nikolic will be named on Epstein's will that he wrote while in prison. Yes. Oh, it's all coming back to y'all. Y'all like my socks? Okay, the podcast people can't see my socks. I'm wearing nice blue Caribbean socks with my on cloud shoes. Super glad to be here today, by the way. Okay, so Bill Gates' science advisor gets named on Epstein's will. Epstein, before he dies, writes a will, and he wants a lot of his money, if not all of his money, to go to a man that is very familiar with Bill Gates. Works right under Bill Gates. Works right under Bill Gates. Bill Gates does not know. Listen, Bill Gates does not know Epstein at the time he had extramarital relations with this woman, Antonova. No, Bill did not know. Bill supposedly did not know Epstein in 2009. Supposedly he didn't. They don't start a relationship until 2011. Bill Gates, Epstein start talking their philanthropy. They start talking it up. They start having meals together. Yeah, me and Epstein, we had some meals together, and we had some philanthropic discussions about. Okay, so they did have philanthropic discussions, same way Chomsky had philanthropic or whatever discussions, philosophy discussions. This man can talk to anybody, supposedly. He having discussions with Gates. He having discussions with all these people. But what happens? Supposedly, Epstein uses his knowledge of the Antonova situation against him. Now, Griff, how the heck does Antonova, this 20-some-year-old bridge player, get to know Bill Gates, and then how the heck does Epstein find out about it? Oh, because Epstein was put on the Antonova by Boris Nikolic. Can't even say my man's last name right. The science advisor to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation put this young woman onto Epstein. This woman, she's trying to start a bridge company. She just had sex. I just said, say anything else all good. Remember that? She just got it in with one of the richest men in the world. She's still trying to start this company. And the science advisor to Gates says, hey, I know a guy that can help you out in your company. Now, out of everyone in the world, I'm talking about there's millions and billions, and I heard even trillions of people on this planet. Who on God's green earth is better at helping you start a spades poker company than this rich guy who just happened to get caught up in an underage scandal? Now, maybe I'm getting my years wrong, but didn't Boris put her on in 2011? Wait, did Boris not put Antonova in contact with Epstein back in 2011? 2010, he was a registered sex offender. Wait, they tell me Gates and Epstein weren't cool until 2011. In 2010, this man was a registered sex offender, soliciting an underage prostitute. Stop. Wake him up. Do y'all know how money works? Yo. Stop. Do y'all know how money works? Man. 2 years ago, New York Times reported that Gates and Epstein met numerous times beginning in 2011. Gates admitted on Wednesday that it was a huge mistake. Gates' relationship with Epstein dates back to 2011. But it became a point of contention in September 2013 between him and Melinda, who has been said to have been concerned about his relationship with a convicted pedophile. Listen. Who wrote this? This Daily Mail? Yo, Daily Mail, good stuff. Every once in a while, they throw you a good one. I used to read Daily Mail. I like this. Wake him up. So he's meeting with him, all right? She's meeting with him. Uh-oh. Who is she? Melinda? Heck no, not Melinda. Well, not as far as we know. Antonova. Wait, the woman that Bill Gates cheated on Melinda with? Yes! Yes. She stayed at his townhouse for 3 years. Wake him up. No, hold up. Griff, you can't be serious. When I said Boris put her on, y'all thought I was stupid? Y'all thought I'm just playing around? Boris had a house in New York. Boris had a house in New York. I ain't talking about Boris. I'm talking about Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein have cribs, dog. It's more than an island. He had a crib in New York. This woman staying over there. This woman. Who is this one? I'm talking about Antonova. The woman that Bill Gates just slept with is now staying at Epstein's crib. Not in the crib that he lives at, supposedly. Supposedly she ain't stay with him. She just staying there for 3 years and he's paying for her school. Hey, but I ain't stay with him. I ain't sleep with him. I ain't really get to do nothing with him, right? I don't know what. This is retarded even saying out loud. Y'all believe this? I'm mad at the Washington. I'm still mad at the original reporting of this because it's just so many questions of this. Who is Antonova? Who is that? I've seen the pictures. Who comes to America to start bridge? I'm serious. Who? Who comes to America, start playing cards, and able to meet some of the richest people on the planet, stay at their crib, have these cats cheat on their wife? It don't even make sense. The story don't even make sense. I'm about to take a break, and I'm about to break down how this Antonova person also knows an actual Russian spy named Anna Chapman. Anna Chapman. Of course, the pictures with her and Chapman were taken around 2009 and 2010, around the same exact time Epstein gets convicted for his first case. Soliciting an underage prostitute. I don't even know if that was his first case, but the big case, one of the bigger cases, the case we know about. I'm going to take a break. She Knows a Spy. You're listening to Germ Griffin Recordings Archive. You can listen and watch everywhere. Podchaser, Spotify, Google Podcasts, YouTube, BitChute, Odyssey. I'll be right back. I'm back. Germ Griffin Recordings Archive. I'm back. My name is Brother Germ Griffin. Environmentalist, public speaker, citizen researcher, and I'm back. I'm ready to get it in. I'm ready to get this thing popping. Cats ain't know I was really about to pop off today. Right? You can find me at Germ Twix, Twitter, and on Instagram at germ.griffin. Super excited. We're going to get it in. I had to get some more water, and I had to keep looking at my notes because there's a lot of stuff popping off in this. And all of this is really spurring, and this is part 1. This ain't even part 2. I ain't even really get into, there's a woman named Melinda Walker, Dr. Melinda Walker. She was married to the former Microsoft exec who somehow is involved with Epstein, Gates, Trump, Microsoft, Victoria's Secret. I mean, like, she's involved in this back in the 90s, and like, so these entities really be working together, and at the end of the day, when you really dig deep into this stuff, you start to realize the borders of these people, these entities, these countries really isn't as questionable as you think. I want to back it up a little bit because I got right into it about Antonova, a young Russian woman. She cute. She cute. I don't know if I'll be willing to, but anyway, let me, because of this. um, she do look like Greta though. She do look a lot like Greta. She cute though. No, and Melinda, hey, yeah, y'all ain't getting me caught up today. Let me read the notes. So I said, remember, first Gates met Antonova in 2009 in a bridge tournament. Remember, there's a pic of Antonova and Chapman that looks to be taken in 2009 and 2010. Yeah, I ain't even hit on that. Yeah, y'all know she was in a picture with an actual Russian spy. Lie to you not. This Russian woman who came over here to play cards, this is what they're telling me. This is all from Wall Street Journal, by the way. Khadija Savda. She the one that wrote this article out of nowhere. Epstein dead, the pandemic over. She like, hey, let's talk about these emails of Epstein pretty much blackmailing Gates. Now that Epstein dead and now that the pandemic over, yeah, let's get it popping. I don't know where she got this info from. That's all I really want to know. And the crazy thing is about the original article, this Wall Street Journal article that just came out a week or two ago. And you can look it up. It's a paywall. You can't even really read it unless you pay these cats for it. We want to know where you're getting this info from. Because it's crazy that she actually, Khadija Savda and another person, woman, man, somebody else wrote it with her. They did a reporting on this. I seen an interview with Khadija Savda. I don't know what's up with her face. Like one eyebrow is a little bit higher than the other and stuff. Hey, more power to her. She threw us a banger though. No, more power to her, yo. She did throw us a banger. I mean, she gave me some content for a while. I can milk this for a while, y'all. Honestly, I can milk this one single incident because it spans over a decade. And there's so many mysterious questions, but I really just want to know where she getting her information. She was able, or her or whoever else wrote it, they were able to contact a spokesperson for Gates. Okay, so this ain't just like, oh man, maybe Epstein was blackmailing Gates through email because Epstein somehow knew that he cheated on his wife with a young Russian. No, it ain't even that questionable. I mean, part of it is questionable. And the way they wrote it was a little questionable. This is Wall Street Journal reporting, okay? I gotta keep saying this because I ain't write this stuff. You know what I mean? If I was on the phone with these people, man, I would have been asking the right questions. So, this Epstein's spokesperson. No, not his spokesperson. Gates' spokesperson, says pretty much that Epstein has tried multiple times and failed. Yeah, Epstein has tried multiple times to pass, the conversation from just philanthropic purposes. So Gates and Epstein talked public knowledge. Ooh, hit the mic. Public knowledge that Gates and Epstein talked. What were they talking about? Well, supposedly this spokesperson is trying to let y'all know, hey, they were talking about giving to the poor. They were talking about getting this hedge fund together with JP Morgan or getting this big fund to give out to the kids. And supposedly Epstein even told, Gates talking about, Epstein was talking about helping help the poor countries and some health stuff, Bill Gates love hearing that. Oh, helping the poor countries and the health and all that. Oh man, I really gotta dig deep into that. What? Oh man, yeah. I'll get on your island. We can talk about it. We can. Oh yeah, we can chat it up right next to this Russian woman and stuff. Yeah. We can talk about the vaccine. We can talk about that thing that we gonna release in 2029. And we could talk about let's not even talk about the spares that. Let's talk about this thing I got brewing called COVID and this company I've been investing in called Pfizer that no one knows about. Yeah, Pfizer is gonna be a big thing in 2020. Don't worry about it. Bill and Melinda Gates, like I was exposed before, was investing in Pfizer before anybody knew about Pfizer. Before any of y'all were talking about Pfizer, Bill and Melinda was investing back in like 2002, 2001, something like that. Right? And y'all know how I get with the COVID stuff. I'm trying to keep it on this. Wall Street Journal reports a week or two ago, Epstein failed multiple times to try to get Gates to talk about stuff past the philanthropic purposes of what they meant for, what they talked about. Epstein tried to unsuccessfully leverage a past relationship to threaten Gates. Now listen, this is coming from his spokesperson. This ain't from Khadijah. I mean, Khadijah reported, but this ain't from like us trying to figure it out. Listen, Epstein tried to unsuccessfully leverage a past relationship, to threaten Bill Gates. All right. Now, what happened in this relationship where he could threaten you? Huh? No, stop. What happened in this relationship where Epstein could threaten you? Right? Now, is it just me? Or isn't it suspicious that Melinda and Bill break up? And it's supposedly because of the relationship that he had with Epstein. Now, y'all think I'm ridiculous and funny. Is that not one of the reasons why they broke up? And I think she the one that divorced him. Or is it vice versa? I don't know. Maybe he need to work on getting another Russian or something. Because I'm trying to understand what's popping off with this whole relationship and what's going on here. Ghislaine Maxwell is in jail. Man, take that woman out and beat the crap out of her till we get some answers now. Right now. Bill and Melinda are walking around here. We don't know where Antonova is. Antonova done went to school off Epstein's money. Man, all these cats need to be naked, sitting in a room and letting the working class beat the crap out of them till we get some full-blown answers about what happened to them kids on that gosh dang island. Period. There's no way we should have cats out here walking around while we know what was popping off on that island. Prince Andrew, Donald Trump. I don't care how much y'all like them. Let me watch my words now. Wait a minute. Everybody needs to have a sit down and be like, what was popping off? Period. Oh, we got some of the evidence from the Ghislaine Maxwell case, and I think whatchamacallit pleaded guilty. I forget how his case actually ended up in like 2018, 2019, when he ended up in jail and dead. Right? I think he was about to start testifying, really. Someone need to do the research on that. Wasn't that the case? He was about to really start testifying on everything that was popping off. And what was popping off? Be honest. What was popping off? These cats just get knocked off in prison. Man, them two guards that were in there falling asleep, and they were black. Man, beat them cats till we figure out what's popping off with this man. Where is he at? All right? This woman, Antonova, I'm sorry. WSJ, Wall Street Journal, Khadijah, more power to you for getting the info out. But this ain't enough. Everyone need to be reporting on this story. Everyone need to be finding where Antonova at. Why do Antonova know a spy? And why does the picture of her with a spy, why was that taken right before whatchamacallit supposedly done had whatever with this woman? When Bill Gates had sex with this woman, she also taking pictures with a Russian spy. What is Putin doing about this? I'm just asking questions. What is Putin doing? Chapman was a spy. Anna Chapman was a spy. She was a model, beautiful woman, some may have said. I'm not the one to say it. All right? She over here in the U.S., and some have said she was told to what? To seduce Wall Street. To seduce men in Wall Street. She did not tell our government she had a background with the KGB, I don't care who, anybody from Archer. You know who I'm talking about. Her father was working with the KGB, whoever. She comes over here, gets locked up in 2010, and gets shipped back to Russia for a quote-unquote prisoner exchange. Now, where the heck is Paul Whelan at with all this? Wasn't Paul Whelan going over there and spying on Russia for us? For us as in the U.S., not for me. He wasn't spying for me. Y'all better start connecting some of these pieces because I'm trying to understand how me, as a young black man, can figure all this stuff out with a gosh dang iPad, with a computer, and some of y'all still acting retarded. Oh, we don't know what's going on over there in the Ukraine. Yeah, we stand with Ukraine, and what's going on with Russia? Dog, we got spies getting shipped back and forth like it's the Cold War, dog. Like it's communism versus capitalism. They pretty much playing toss, and we got Bill Gates out here having sex with 20-some years olds and getting blackmailed by Epstein. One of the biggest sex traffickers on this side of the Mississippi. And y'all letting him throw vaccines in y'all kids. This is why I get hyped. This is why I gotta question every single thing. Wall Street Journal, where was this at when Warp Speed came out? Where was this article at? Fauci up here on Bill Gates' podcast with Rashida Jones talking like they've been friends for years. This man is getting blackmailed. Bill Gates out here buying all this farmland while this man is getting blackmailed by a sex trafficker. Bill Gates and his wife playing eugenics in Africa while getting blackmailed. All right? Just that simple. Where was the article at? Where was it at, Rashida or Khadijah? It's just so timely. Boris, 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 who also worked for Gates for years, just so happens to be on this man's will. This man could have wrote a bajillion people on his will. Epstein could have wrote a bajillion people on his will. I believe he wrote it while he was in jail. Who does he mention? Boris, the science advisor for Bill and Melinda. Another client for J.P. Morgan. Yes, J.P. Morgan. I told y'all the central banks is everywhere. These bankers is running this whole thing. That's why the Virgin Islands right now got J.P. Morgan in that case. J.P. Morgan. The dude, one of the biggest execs for J.P. Morgan, was chilling up here with Epstein. Remind you, what Epstein was trying to get Bill Gates on was that fund. He was starting a fund with Bill. He wanted to start a fund with Bill and J.P. Morgan. Waxner, the founder of Victoria's Secret. He was working with Epstein. Epstein becomes a sex offender, and he's the only smart one. He leaves him and works with J.P. Morgan. He the only one said, hey, I see the sex offender thing. Let me leave. And now he working with the bankers, who they all working with. Boris working with him, who is a science advisor for Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Boris, who's the one who put the Russian onto Epstein. Antonova would have never met Epstein. Epstein probably would have never knew Bill Gates had sex with this woman if it wasn't for Boris. Antonova, we have no idea who she is, except for the fact that she was seen with an actual Russian spy. I mean, like, you can't make this stuff up. This is almost like a script. Remind you, this is during the Obama and the Trump era. This is during Warp Speed, this stuff was popping off. Actually, no, it wasn't even during Warp Speed. It was right before Warp Speed, because the pandemic ain't even start when Epstein died. This Grassley Maxwell trial, Epstein's girlfriend, who was helping get them little girls onto that island. Yeah, that was during Warp Speed. That was during when Bill Gates out here running around like he's the president of these here United States. Him, Fauci, and Trump thinking they run the world. I can't let Trump out of this. I can't let a lot of people. Bill Clinton was involved in this mess. How much did Bill Clinton know about Victoria's Secret, J.P. Morgan, Epstein, and this whole Gates fiasco? Because all four of them, between Victoria's Secret, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Microsoft, I ain't even get to the Dr. Melinda Walker thing. I got a part two. Because y'all think this is crazy. I ain't even let y'all know. Boris Nikolic, the man named on Epstein's will, the science advisor for Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, is also a client for J.P. Morgan, correct? But what if I told you Epstein has a science advisor? What? Yes. Epstein, the man who's running around here rich for no reason, advising billionaires, a financier. He's a friend to financiers, financier, a venture capitalist, billionaires. He's just friends with them, got this island. Friends with some of the richest people on the planet, Noam Chomsky in there too. He has a science advisor named Dr. Melanie Walker, who's an actual doctor, crazy enough. I'm telling you, this story get crazy. Oh, and Boris, I think, is an actual doctor too. Like, these are actual, like, physicians. So I'm going to talk about the Melanie Walker, Dr. Melanie Walker, I believe. She's a neurosurgeon. Good gracious, man. How you get caught up in this mess? You're a neurosurgeon. Dr. Melanie Walker, her Epstein and Trump met in 92. Can you believe this? You can't make this up. Hired as his science advisor before she joined the Gates Foundation years later. So she worked for Epstein. She worked for Gates later on. Man, I tell you, listen, we gotta wake up. All this stuff is a game to some of these people. With that being said, my name is Germ Griffin. You've listened to Epstein Aftermath Part 1. Stay safe. Trust the Lord Jesus Christ with all your heart, soul, and mind. Right now, we need Jesus more than anything because our world is going crazy. I just report the news and make people think. I will never forgive him for pandemic, though. For that pandemic, though. I'll never forgive him for that, and we can't. We got to remember everything. But we got to talk to Jesus about some of this stuff. We got to talk to Jesus about this stuff because we're in a mess. With that being said, y'all have a good day. Germ Griffin, germ.griffin. On Instagram, Germ Twix. On Twitter, my DMs are always open. Word of Controversy Podcast. WOC_pod. WOC_podcast. My name is Germ Griffin, your brother Germ Griffin. Germ Griffin Recordings Archive. You can find the podcast wherever you get podcasts. That's including BitChute, Odyssey, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. No, actually, I don't even think I'm on Apple or Google. What am I talking about? For sure, you can get me on Anchor and Spotify. We're the Controversy Podcast. No, that's on Google and it's on Apple. With that being said, listen, I hope you have a good day. Do the research. Just do the research for me. Thank you.